So dirty word searches were these kind of automated queries that I would set up to go across the whole network and look at all of the different levels of classification and compartmentation and exceptionally controlled information. That's kind of, you can think of it as above top secret. In these special compartments, right, where you're not even supposed to know what these compartments are for. You only know the code word unless you work in them, unless you have access to them, unless you're read into them. Well, one day I got a hit on the dirty word search for a program that I'd never heard of called Stella Wind. It came back because the little caveat for it, they're called handling caveats, which is like, you know, you can think of like burn after reading or for your eyes only. But this one's called STLW, which means stellar wind. And unless you know what stellar wind is, you don't know how to handle it. All I knew is it wasn't supposed to be on my system. Anyway, this is a little bit unusual. And it turned out this document was placed on the system because one of the employees who had worked on this program years before had come to Hawaii. And this person was a lawyer, I believe. And they had worked in the Inspector General's office, and they had compiled a report, part of the Inspector General's report, which is when the government is investigating itself, into the operations and activities of this program. Well, this was the domestic mass surveillance program that I talked about in the very beginning of our conversation that started under the Bush White House. Stellar Wind was no longer supposed to be really in operation. It had been unveiled in a big scandal in December 2005 in the New York Times by journalist James Risen, and I'm not going to name him because I don't want to get it wrong. Another journalist, you can look at the byline if you want to see their involvement. But and there's a lot of history here too. But what they had found was, of course, the Bush White House had constructed a warrantless wiretapping program, if you remember the warrantless wiretapping scandal, that was affecting everyone in the United States. Well, the Bush White House was really put in a difficult position by this scandal. They would have lost the election over this scandal because the New York Times actually had this story in October 2004, which was the election year.